Hey there, and welcome back to Limitless Inner Wisdom with Brittany Wiley. If you've ever felt stuck in overthinking, trying to plan every detail, or worrying about how things will turn out, you're not alone. I've been there too. Today, we're going to explore two affirmations that go hand in hand, both of which can help you release the need for control and step into a more peaceful, trusting flow. So, take a deep breath and let's dive in. Today's first affirmation is, I trust that everything happens for a reason, and I am guided to the best outcomes. Have you ever noticed how much energy we can spend trying to figure everything out? We analyze every possible scenario trying to avoid failure, mistakes, or surprises. And while planning is important, overthinking can actually keep us stuck. I know this firsthand. I've spent plenty of time in analysis paralysis, running through every detail before taking action. It helps to plan, but overplanning in order to control an outcome can hold you back from even making a first attempt. What I've learned is the best outcomes don't come from forcing solutions. They come when we trust our inner wisdom and take one step at a time, setting the intention that the outcome will be a good one in spite of what happens along the way. I've also learned that the feeling of not being in control comes from a deep sense of insecurity. In that state, I'm telling myself a story that isn't true, that things have to be a certain way or else all is lost. This might seem a little dramatic, and every situation is nuanced, but this is the underlying narrative. It can be a conscious or subconscious thought, and the whole purpose of this channel is to help bring us into a new mindset whenever this type of thinking is triggered. For me, it helps to remember that God, our source, already sees the path ahead and carefully leads us through our inner wisdom to the best outcome, tending to every detail. We are guided through ups and downs, smooth and bumpy roads to our intended goal. These goals and desires were placed on our hearts for a reason, and when the time is right, the answer to every bump in the road will reveal itself. When I speak to that part of me that feels insecure from this perspective, I immediately place myself in an empowered state. There is nothing for me to try to control because I am taken care of from every angle no matter what happens. It may look like things are falling off the rails, and I may not have an immediate answer, but one is coming. The answers come when I remember where to place my focus. My focus should be on trusting that the best outcome is what I will achieve when I follow my inner guidance and adapt to whatever happens. I can take real comfort in the fact that everything happens for a specific reason. For example, I'm currently managing and adapting to obstacles with every video I make, using these very tools in real time as I record. Every time I have to stop and fix an error, I notice something else that will make what I'm working on even better. This refinement is happening naturally without being forced, and it places my thoughts on the excitement of improvement rather than the frustration of having to stop. I find solutions to problems much easier when I'm in a state of flow and adaptability. If you're faced with the unknown and feel a bit insecure, know that the best solutions are always available and will come to you when you release the need to control. When we do this, we free ourselves to move in flow with whatever life brings. This looks like taking inspired action instead of acting out of fear or pressure, paying attention to the doors that open, including doors you create, instead of banging on the ones that stay closed, trusting that setbacks aren't punishments or something to fear, they're redirections towards something better. If you're working toward a goal and things aren't moving as quickly as you'd like, instead of pushing harder in frustration, living in flow means stepping back and letting the next step become clear. Rather than overthinking every detail, trust what feels right. You already know when something clicks and when it doesn't. Use both your logical thinking and your inner wisdom to move forward with confidence, not becoming fixed on one or the other. Know that you can adapt by creating something that works for you, no matter what the conventional way of doing things may be. If one door is closed and you see no other workable options, it's okay to build a new door and walk through it. Obstacles don't mean you're off track. They're often the very things steering you in the right direction. When you stop forcing and start flowing, life begins to feel easier, more aligned, and full of unexpected blessings. This ties in wonderfully with the affirmation from my previous video concerning releasing the pressure to rush. If you haven't seen that video, be sure to check it out. It's a great companion to today's message, especially if you find yourself feeling impatient with how things are unfolding. Now let's talk about another way the need for control can show up: perfectionism. And to do that, let's look at today's second affirmation. I release perfectionism, allowing myself to learn from every experience. Perfectionism is really an analytical mind turned up to its extreme setting. It's on the far end of the spectrum when it comes to wanting to do your best or wanting others around you to do their best. On the surface, that sounds great. Who doesn't want to bring out the best in themselves and others? But when perfectionism goes unchecked, it becomes an attempt to control everything. And that can be exhausting, not just for you, but for those around you. I've noticed that perfectionism often pushes people away. It can feel like nothing is ever good enough, and that energy creates resistance instead of flow. So, what's a healthier way to view perfectionism? A growth mindset. Instead of chasing some impossible standard, a growth mindset allows you to focus on improvement while still being adaptable. You still put in your best effort, but you don't run yourself or anyone else into the ground trying to control every little thing. As a mom of a growing little girl, the struggle with perfectionism has been real. I used to worry about making sure she was learning everything early, trying so hard to make sure she hit her developmental milestones in a certain time frame, but I realized that all of that pressure was making our time together less enjoyable. Instead of having fun with the things I wanted her to learn, it felt like a chore for both of us, and that's not what I wanted at all. Now I remind myself that she will learn everything she needs to in her own time. I don't need to force it. I focus on introducing concepts that match where she is in her development, trusting that she'll get there when it's meant to happen. And she is doing amazing already. She's a great reader at just 5 years old, and I know that she will continue to do well with a more collaborative approach. So, if you're a mom or anyone who struggles with perfection, just know you don't have to control everything. Trust that things are unfolding as they should. We can do our part, but we don't need to force outcomes. The best things come when we allow ourselves and our children to grow naturally. When we step back and look at these two affirmations together, we can see how deeply connected they are. The need for control, whether it's over life circumstances or our own performance, creates resistance. But when we shift our mindset, we move into flow. Trusting that everything happens for a reason allows us to let go of the pressure to force outcomes. And releasing perfectionism allows us to embrace learning and growth without fear. If this message resonated with you, go on ahead and give it a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for spending this time with me and for growing with me. Let me know in the comments which affirmation spoke to you the most and how you can shift to a more empowered mindset when you feel unsure. To purchase the Limitless Inner Wisdom Affirmation card deck, check the link in the description. As always, I'm sending a lot of love your way. Until next time, bye for now.